Hey there, so I wanted to cover a very important topic we get asked a ton is what does it actually cost to start a business selling on Amazon? There's quite a few different fees, it can be kind of confusing, and we understand why we get this question a ton. So I'm gonna try to cover this as quickly as possible. So let's assume you order a minimum of 200 units. Because that is very important, because you could start a business technically selling on Amazon with 5 units. And there's some suppliers who are out there that'll give you products with that little number of products, but it's not really the kind of model that we teach, and we don't really think it's worth your time. So let's assume you're starting with at least 200 units. First biggest cost is going to be your product. So when it comes to the product, you've got the cost of the actual unit. Say, for example, you were selling yoga mats. You would have the cost of the actual yoga mats, including packaging and everything else that goes into the manufacturer producing that. Now, if you're ordering a small number of units, your cost is likely going to be a lot higher than when you start ramping up the number of units you're ordering. But what we've seen, if you're ordering a minimum of 200 units of the average kind of products that we teach people how to sell, then your cost is going to be about $1,500 to $7,500. This is going to be, by and large, your biggest cost out there. So $1,500 to $7,500. And the next biggest one is going to be your shipping or freight. So I'm just going to put shipping, but this is basically the cost to get your product from your manufacturer, a lot of times overseas, a lot of the times in China, but sometimes in the US. And the cost to get it all the way from over there to the US so that you can start selling these products on Amazon. So about $300 to $600 is what this is going to cost. Now it's going to depend on the price of your product, the weight, and a lot of other factors, but these are the averages that we tend to see. Now, next big thing is like, okay, before I even get it from the manufacturer to Amazon, how do I know my product is going to be any good? Before then, you would have already ordered samples, which is a pretty small cost. But before then, you would have already ordered samples, and a lot of times that's credited towards your product cost. So this is why right here on the product cost, I'm not adding an additional sample fee, because if you order samples and you end up ordering inventory, a lot of times they'll credit that towards your actual product cost. But aside from that, you order samples, you check those out. Then when your product's ready to ship, you don't want to send, say 200 units from China to Amazon and then find out there's an issue with those products. So you have a company go out there and do what's called an inspection. So your inspection, you actually have a company typically located in China that's going to check out randomly a few different units of your product and make sure that they meet your quality standards. And it's not very expensive. So that costs typically around $200. It's a one-time fee, and then they check out your inventory to make sure you don't have any issues. So these are the first of the few costs, and right now we're talking about the upfront cost. And so next is your branding fee. So branding is related to, anything from getting your logo to getting a basic website, social media profiles. There can be a bit of a range here, but when you're first getting started, there's no reason to spend a ton of money. And typical cost for branding can be as cheap as nothing really, up to say $350. But let's put a more comfortable range here. We'll say $50 to $350 for branding. Next one, photos. Pretty straightforward. You need somebody to take some nice photos of your product. We don't recommend cheaping it out here. You could technically do these yourself for free, but it's not what we recommend. Typically, you want about at least 6 photos, and they're going to cost you at least, say $50 each. Which gives us a total of $300 for photos, and that's basically it for upfront cost. So after we kind of add all this stuff together, total is going to be anywhere from about $2,000 to about $9,000. Just shorten that. So $2,000 to $9,000 upfront is kind of what you're looking at to start this business with the kind of one-time fees. Now, fortunately, with a lot of this stuff, you're ordering inventory, you're selling the inventory, but some of the things like branding and photos, even when you reorder inventory, you don't have to buy that stuff again. Now, you might be wondering, what are the recurring fees with this? That's what a lot of times people want to know. They're like, okay, I get it. If I get some money, I order some inventory, I do some branding, I get some photos, what is this going to cost me on a monthly basis? The answer can be a little bit tricky here. The main one that you're going to have to do is your Seller Central, I'm just abbreviating this SC, your Seller Central fee, which is only about $39.99 per month. That's really it for your recurring fees. Because the other fees that you're going to get charged are your Amazon referral commission, which is basically, Amazon's fee for letting you sell products on their website. And so if you sell something for, say, $100, then you're probably going to have to pay Amazon about $15 per sale, because it's almost always 15% for most products out there. So this is Amazon letting you use their platform. That's their main way to make money off of you. And so then you have fulfillment by Amazon fees. So we recommend you keep your inventory with Amazon. And so your FBA fees, though, whenever you make sales on Amazon, it's automatically deducted from the revenue that Amazon pays you. And so this is kind of wrapped into the cost of selling on Amazon. Same thing with advertising. May sound strange because your advertising you think would be a big extra expense, but if you sell, say, 20 grand worth of products on Amazon, it's going to deduct your FBA fees, which are very reasonable. They're basically, in most cases, the same price or cheaper than you could get it any other warehouse to do it. And also you want to be eligible for Amazon Prime. And so you almost would never want to sell on Amazon for most products unless you're using FBA. Advertising, we teach people how to run it basically either at break even or at a slight profit. And so that means that if you sell a product on Amazon and that came from your ads, the ads aren't necessarily costing you extra money. They're just covering your cost to get that new customer. And then the last one is reorders. So whenever you reorder inventory because you sold out on Amazon, you should be making a profit each time. And so your inventory reorders shouldn't be additional money you're putting inside of your business. So that's basically it. Those are the entire costs. You've got this $39.99 a month fee. You've got your upfront cost, including inventory and everything else, of around $2 grand to say $9,000. You can get started with a very small amount of money. We know people that have gotten started with as little as $500. You're going to have a lot easier of a time and be able to make money faster if you're willing to put in a little bit more. Recommended amount that we typically tell people is around $5 grand. If you could put in $5 grand, and most of that is inventory costs, remember? And some of it's some one-time fees that you'll never have to pay again, such as getting photos and a logo and that kind of thing. If you can do that, you can comfortably start this business. But by all means, if you can't spend that amount of money, doing something is better than nothing. Building any business is better than building no business. At least give it a try. Now, on the other hand, we don't recommend, even if you have a lot of money, or if you're just very ambitious or aggressive, we don't recommend going out there and spending 30, 40 grand a month or to start a business like this, because to us it's too much risk if you're just getting started. But if you can spend the recommended $2,000 and $9,000, that's plenty to give this business a try. So hopefully this makes it more clear the total cost and what it actually costs to build a business selling on Amazon today.